This program is proudly brought to you by TAB Telephone Betting.
In years gone by, the Australian Cup has produced some of the very best that the sport of thoroughbred racing has to offer. Who will ever forget the classic confrontation between Bone Crusher and At Tallack 3 years ago? Today, the finest racehorses in the land will do battle. One will put its name alongside the champions as a winner of one of the nation's great races. Will it be the mighty Queenslander Voe Rogue, second in 1988 and last year's winner? Or will Melbourne's overnight rain ruin his chances? Can Superimpose and Darren Gauci go one better than their second place in last year's Melbourne Cup? Or perhaps former Tasmanian Citizen or Kiwi Galloper the Phantom, the unlucky runners in the Cup, may gain revenge today. Colin Hayes has 3 runners in the race. Better Loosen Up stamped his claims with an upset win in the Blamey Stakes, and today could be his 5th win on the trot. While Kings High and Gary Clark renew the acquaintance which won racing's Blue Ribbon event, the Victoria Derby, in 1988. And the horse which won the Derby last year is today's favourite. Stylish Century won the Autumn Classic in a canter at his last start, and in 15 minutes, he could very well become the best in the land in the $655,000 Honda Australian Cup.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Channel 10's live coverage of the Australian Cup, a race that has captured everybody's attention in the last 4 years, and I dare say this is probably the best field that we've seen in the Australian Cup in modern day. It's a fabulous race. Weather conditions are perfect, the track is perfect, it is rated as good. The update for the race, we'll have a look at some of these fantastic names, and from the top we see that number 1 is Voe Rogue, and the totes will come up with us shortly. He's at good odds, Voe Rogue, 4.35. Superimpose is at the same quote. They ran 1st and 2nd in this race last year. Better Loosen Up, 3.45. Kings High, $4.65. The Phantom, 2.85. He's very short. Sedestin at 3.90. He's way under the odds of what he is with the bookmakers. Lord Palmerston at 50 to 1 on the tote. 9.30 for Kingston Rule. 28.60 for Concordance. And Stylish Century is the favourite. $1.60 the win. $1.15 the place. Nearly $300,000 in the win pool. $166,000 in the place pool. 4 races have been run so far today. The first event was the steeplechase, and the winner was Pleasure Bow, made it 3 consecutive wins, 260 and 95. Mary Ripper got a long way back, ran on strongly, being bowled. The outsider finished up in 3rd placing. The second event, a photo finish, went to Clutos narrowly over Nosy Knight, who led everywhere bar the post, and Economy 3rd. The third race was the second feature today, the VRC Sires Produce Stakes, in a great finish, and Kenny Ladd was an odds-on favourite. 600 metres to go on the VRC Sires Produce Stakes. Antaeus in front, Muraroa went up quickly on the outside. Then Century Pike, followed by Temperate King. Deadly Addiction was next. Kenny Ladd ridden along, Famous Arch next, and then Draw Card needing a bit of luck. China Beach, Great Sabre and Sir Banks. Antaeus shot away, 400 to go. Has raced 4 in front. Century Pike second. Now into the clear was Kenny Ladd, followed by China Beach and Temperate King. Antaeus 250 to go is 2 in front. Century Pike is trying to run it down with Kenny Ladd, and here's Draw Card. Draw Card is swamping them. Century Pike goes to the front. Draw Card, Kenny Ladd coming at it. Century Pike going to it. Kenny Ladd, and might have got up on the last stride, Kenny Ladd. To beat Century. Did get up in the last stride, Kenny Ladd. Margins a short half head by a head. 75 and 60. Century Pike second. Draw Card was third. And in the previous event, the heavily backed Brazen Emperor got up for the Cummings Stable and Darren Gauci, $1.40 and 70. Well back. Mr. Imperious was second, and Painted Ocean wound up in 3rd place. Well, the big one is the $655,000 or $655,000 Australian Cup, sponsored by Honda. The runners are in the mounting yard. It now gives me the chance to say a very good afternoon to Peter Donegan and Graham Kelly.
Thank you, Dan, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this marvellous scene down here in the mounting yard before one of Australia's truly great races, the Australian Cup. As Dan said, $655,000, but there's a lot more at stake here, probably the title of the best racehorse in Australia at the moment. And Graham Kelly, what a field we've got in front of us.
Yes, it certainly is. Everyone's saying Voe Rogue and Stylish Century, but other horses such as Better Loosen Up and Kings High come into the race, and also the Phantom and Citizen, so it's a very open race.
Any number of chances. Let's take a look at the runners now prior to the start of the Australian Australian Cup. They'll be going to the barrier very shortly. And let's lead off with the public favourite, number 1, Vo Rogue. He's come up incredible odds on the toters we've just seen. Cyril Small is the rider and Vic Rail the trainer. Vo Rogue won at Sandown. He won the Ore Stakes 3 runs ago. Then he ran third behind Better Loosen Up here at Flemington after leading. There was a lot of controversy about the track that day and plenty of controversy about his last run too, when he was beaten on protest by Kings High in the St George Stakes at Caulfield. Well, the big question is, will he lead? Will Stylish Century lead? We'll know probably 200 metres after the start. But Vo Rogue at the odds, I don't think we'll see these odds about him too often. And you know that he is going to give 110%.
Number 2 is Superimposed with Darren Gauci in the saddle. Hasn't run since finishing second to Better Loosen Up in the Blamey Stakes here on February 17. That was a very good run, although he did weaken slightly near the finish. I'm just a little bit worried that Superimposed hasn't had a run between those 2 races. He does better on a hard preparation, and would have liked to have seen him have another run, but he's got a chance.
Speaking of Better Loosen Up, he carries number 3 saddlecloth today. Michael Clark is the rider, Colin Hayes the trainer, and he's becoming somewhat of a Group 1 specialist, this fellow. He won the Winfield at Ascot 3 runs ago, then came out and scored a slashing win in the Railway Stakes, coming from last, and then he won the Blamey Stakes here at Flemington, running all over the top of them at the end of the race to beat Superimposed by a half neck. 2,000 metres, he gives the impression he'll run the distance right out, and he's certainly amongst the top contenders.
Number 4 in the race is Kings High with Gary Clark in the saddle. He's got excellent form at Flemington, having won the Victoria Derby here and the Australian Guineas. It was a good last start win on protest from Vo Rogue in the St George Stakes. That run will improve him. I feel that Kings High is the one to beat on his second to Horlicks in the McKinnon Stakes here in the spring. He wasn't 100% fit on that occasion, ran a gallant race, and I think Kings High can come over the top of them at the finish.
Grant Cooksley is the rider for number 5, the Phantom, and this horse was unlucky probably not to have won the Melbourne Cup. He flew home at the end of the race and finished 4th behind Terrific, and his recent form in New Zealand has been outstanding, including an unlucky second behind the great mare Horlicks at his last appearance. He looks very well in the mounting yard, the Phantom. There's a good tip floating around for him, and he's one of the chances in a very, very open Australian Cup.
And so is number 6, Citizen, with Jim Cassidy in the saddle. In fact, Citizen's a lot shorter on the tote than you would expect. He's only had 1 run from a spell. That was in the Futurity Stakes when he ran an excellent third behind Arc Regal. He's stepping up 600 metres today, but Citizen did show that he can handle a journey in the spring when he was 6th in the Melbourne Cup and also won the Sandown Cup over 2,400 metres. So the distance won't be a worry to him.
One at long odds is number 7, Lord Palmerston, and the rider is Ricky McLeish. This horse is quoted round about 60 to 1 on the tote at the moment. Did win the Albury Cup at its last start, and prior to that beat Dalmatinska at Sandown, and Dalmatinska proved the form good by winning here on Saturday, but a big step up in class here for Lord Palmerston.
Number 8, Kingston Rules, superbly bred, being by the American Champion Secretariat from the AJC Derby winner Rose of Kingston. Only second to Marwong in the Carlion Cup at his last start, stepping up in class here, but there is a quiet tip about for Kingston Rules. He is expected to improve today.
About 50 to 1 on the tote, available for number 9, Concordance. Greg Hall is the rider, finished last at Caulfield at its last start, and prior to that, second behind Foot at last here, beaten a half length at Flemington on the 17th of February. And I think it's fair enough to say that Concordance will probably find this field a little too rich.
Number 10 is the favourite, Stylish Century, with Kevin Moses in the saddle. Won the Victoria Derby here in brilliant fashion in the spring, and then scored a scorching win in the Autumn's Stakes at Caulfield at his last start, beating the high-class performer Zabeel by 6 lengths. And if you look at him going out, Stylish Century is the best looker on in the race. They all look very well, but if you had to pick a horse on looks, it has to be Stylish Century. He looks magnificent going onto the track.
Finally, Graham, let's leave the looks alone. Facts and figures, who do you select?
Well, I've gone for number 4, Kings High. I think he can run over the top of them in the last 200 metres.
Well, at good each way odds, I like number 6, Citizen, to beat number 10, Stylish Century. We are set for a magnificent race here at Flemington. There's the scene as they go to the 2,000 metre barrier for the running of the Australian Cup of 1990.
Peter, it's going to be a fabulous race. The title of the best racehorse in Australasia. All the names are there, and we are going to see it live on Channel 10. We'll take this break and come back for the Honda Australian Cup. Scene behind the starting stalls for the Honda Australian Cup. There's $655,000 in prize money. Vo Rogue on the tote is at $4.10, and you wouldn't believe it, they're actually betting better odds out here on the track. Superimposed $4.50. Better Loosen Up has been well supported, 325. King's High at 450. The Phantom, 295. Sedestin, 410. Lord Palmerston, 27. Kingston Rule at 950. Concordance, 29.50. And Stylish Century will run the favourite at $1.60. So only in a field of 10. There's 334,000 in the win, 185,000 in the place pools. 8 of the 10 horses are considered big chances. Lord Palmerston and Concordance are the 2 outsiders in the race. And realistically on form, they couldn't match it with the other 8. But it just shows you how open it is and how many great horses we have in Australia at the moment. It's a super race. Vo Rogue won this race last year, defeated Superimpose and Our Poetic Prince, and a little bit of overnight rain, and a lot of people think he might be able to match it with Stylish Century. It's going to be a battle just between those 2 horses to see which one leads, the youngster Stylish Century or the 6-year-old Vo Rogue. Will be a marvellous race. King's High, one of 2 horses from the Hayes stable. Michael Clark is on Better Loosen Up. His brother Gary on King's High. Twice he's made the wrong choice with King's High in the Derby and the Australian Guineas. And Gary Clark again reunited with King's High, a horse who has won 1.4 million. And of the 10 runners, they have won almost $9 million in stake money. A fabulous field. I don't think we'll see a better field for quite a while. It really is a magnificent race. And the runners are behind the stalls and about to go into the stalls. Well, Cyril Small is the jockey of Vo Rogue. He knows what it's like to win the Australian Cup, but this year it is going to be much different. Cyril rides Vo Rogue again.
Well, Cyril, a lot has been said and a lot has been written about the battle between Vo Rogue and Stylish Century in the Australian Cup. How do you feel it's going to turn out, particularly in the early stages?
I think if we don't lead, we'll be right there. So we're going out with the plan of leading, and if he goes with us, well, we'll be right there with him.
Do you think Stylish Century is going to be the hardest for you to beat?
Oh, he's one of the hardest, but a couple of other horses there that are good horses. King's High and Better Loosen Up are both good horses. So, you know, it should be a very good race.
And just one last question. How do you feel Vo Rogue is racing? Is he racing as well as he was, say, last autumn?
I'd have to say definitely, because of the times that he's been racing, they've been running. He's just as good as he ever was.
Good. Well, good luck for the race, and hope your luck turns this week.
Thank you very much. Good.
Cyril Small talking to Graham Kelly only moments ago, and now the runners are being positioned into the starting stalls. The Phantom going up with King's High. Sedestin and Vo Rogue are still away from the line, but there's only a couple to be brought up. 2-1 favourite on the Victorian Tote is Stylish Century. Now Superimpose, runner-up in last year's Melbourne Cup, runner-up in last year's Australian Cup, winner of last year's Turnbull Stakes, is about to go into the line for Darren Gauci. They're all set to go. Lights on for the Australian Cup. And they're racing. Sedestin missed it by a length. The Lord Palmerston was slow to begin. Stylish Century, the Phantom, and Vo Rogue looking for the lead on the outside. He should get it too, Vo Rogue. Sprints around the outside of Stylish Century and leads comfortably. Kingston Rule went up third on the outside of the Phantom. Then King's High on the outside of the stablemate Better Loosen Up. 2 lengths to Concordance. Then Superimpose, Lord Palmerston. And Sedestin was last of all. Well, Vo Rogue's running about 4 horses away from the inside rail, but he still leads. You can see he's out a little bit wide on the track, but he's 2 or 3 lengths in front of Stylish Century. About 5 away Kingston Rule as Vo Rogue gets closer to the rails. 2 lengths behind Kingston Rule was the Phantom. 1.5 lengths to King's High, and then came Better Loosen Up. Followed by Concordance and Sedestin the rail. 1 to Superimpose, and 1 length away last Lord Palmerston. 25 lengths covers first from last, and Vo Rogue in front and leads by 5 lengths. Stylish Century in second placing, about 6 lengths away third Kingston Rule. 1.5 lengths to the Phantom, followed by King's High on the outside of Better Loosen Up. Then came Sedestin and Concordance. 1.5 lengths to Superimpose, and 1 length away the bolter Lord Palmerston. Vo Rogue at the 900 leads by 6 lengths. Stylish Century second, about 3 lengths away Kingston Rule chasing. 4 lengths away the Phantom, then came King's High. On the inside, Better Loosen Up. 2 lengths away, Superimpose making a run. Lord Palmerston going with him, and then came Sedestin, and last of all, Concordance. On the turn in the Australian Cup, Vo Rogue 4 in front. Stylish Century ridden along second, 3 lengths away, Kingston Rule. Then Better Loosen Up, followed by the Phantom. King's High's running on strongly. Then Lord Palmerston, followed by Superimpose, Sedestin and Concordance. 300 to go. Small goes for the whip on Vo Rogue. He's 4 in front. Here's Better Better Loosen Up running on strongly with Superimpose. Vogue of the 250, a length and a half in front. Better Loosen Up is trying to run him down. Here's Superimpose and the Phantom. Vogue still a length in front. Better Loosen Up can't get him. Vogue's hanging on, he'll make it back to back. He is a champion. He's done what only champions can do. Vogue wins a length. Better Loosen Up second, Superimpose third, then Stylish Century. We've seen a wonder horse. The Phantom fifth, then Kingston Rule. Wellback Sedestin, King's High, Lord Palmerston and Concordance. And we've got about a Vogue. He's done it when he wasn't expected to. He's led all the way and beaten the big guns, and still as a 6-year-old, he is the best racehorse in Australia. On the tape, $4 and $1.30. Better Loosen Up, $1.10. Superimpose, $1.25. And the time is 2 minutes 0.9, which is 0.6 off the best metric time held by Horlicks from last year's McKinnon Stakes. Marvellous effort. He is a superstar, and he's definitely now the best horse I've ever seen. Vogue at the 400s, 3 lengths in front. Cyril is waving the whip, and every 2 or 3 strides he's slapping him with it. He's 3 or 4 in front. Better Loosen Up running on strongly. Stylish Sentry's under pressure. Superimpose is making ground, and the Phantom again gets up into another minor placing. But Vogue, he just found so much as he goes to the line with about a length break over Better Loosen Up. Jeff Perry, one of the part owners, he is no doubt ecstatic, I'm sure, and Peter Donning is with Jeff.
Well, Dan, Jeff Perry has got a smile from ear to ear. How are the nerves now, Jeff?
They're all right. I'd say the horse has said it all. There's nothing I can say. I'd say the horse has said it all.
What about when you walked into the betting ring there and you saw the figures they were betting about him? Did you
12
think...
to 1, unbelievable.
I sort of checked him to see that he still had 4 legs when he came into
Well,
the
you'd
mounting.
have to, wouldn't you? You'd have to. You'd have to, yeah, that's right.
Has he answered the critics today?
Well, if he never ever wins another race, I think that's proved it to them, hasn't it?
Now,
If he
Jeff,
never ever wins another race, yeah.
going down the riverside, Cyril stayed out about 4 off the rail. That was
Yes.
obviously a predetermined plan.
Yes, we walked the course last night, and we thought for the first 3 horses on the rail, from the 10 furlong chute down to the mile, it was a little bit wet. So we told him to stay out there 4 deep there.
Were you going to lead at all costs?
No. We were, if the other horse had a lead, we were going to sit on his outside and pressure him all the way. That was the rules.
All right, so what do you do with him now?
Oh, well, we'll go up to Sydney and go into the Sedge, if it's fine. If not, we'll just have to sort of go back to Brisbane, I suppose.
Finally, as he comes back now, the ovation he's getting, it must do your heart proud that the Melbourne public does love him so much.
Well, they still love him, yeah. I don't think they ever gave us away, that's right, yeah.
Jeff, congratulations. Go and lead him in and enjoy a great feeling.
Thanks very much.
Jeff Perry, the senior part owner of Vogue, and tremendous scenes down here in the mounting yard, Dan, after the running of the Australian Cup.
Terrific interview too, Pete. Thanks a lot for that. He's a marvellous racehorse. He's done what only champions can do. We've seen Manicato and we've seen Kingston Town, and what makes them champions is when they win when they're not expected to, and that's what Vogue has done today. Double-figure odds were bet in the ring, which probably made him about 6th or 7th favourite, quite unbelievably, in this fantastic race. And the reception this horse has received has been unbelievable as he comes back to scale. Everybody, whether they've backed him or not, I'm sure are yelling out for this marvellous performance. He is a superstar. That's win number 26 from his 67th start. He's been around for 4 years on the racetrack. He keeps winning races. Jeff Perry walking back Vogue, jockey Cyril Small with a big smile on his face. And there's the superstar Vogue. He's been in the winner's stall before, and this is the 2nd time he has won the Australian Cup. And of course, he was upset by Dandy Andy in that phenomenal race 3 years ago. Vogue, the winner of the Australian Cup. Better Loosen Up has run 2nd, Superimpose 3rd, 4th was Stylish Century, and 5th in was the Phantom. We'll take a break and come back live to Flemington. Well, viewers on Channel 10, you've seen one of the most exciting races in history, the best racehorses in Australasia, and we have now got the proven weight for age champion of this nation, and that's no doubt Vogue. He left no doubt, winning his 26th race from 67 starts, back-to-back Australian Cups. Let's relive that magic moment, Vogue in the 1990 Australian Cup. On the turn in the Australian Cup, Vogue 4 in front. Stylish Century ridden along second. 3 lengths away, Kingston Rule. Then Better Loosen Up, followed by the Fairnham. King's High's running on strongly. Then Lord Palmerston, followed by Superimposed, Sedestin and Concordance. 300 to go. Small goes for the whip on Vogue. He's 4 in front. Here's Better Loosen Up running on strongly with Superimposed. Vogue of the 250, a length and a half in front. Better Loosen Up is trying to run him down. Here's Superimposed and the Fairnham. Vogue still a length in front. Better Loosen Up, can't get him. Vogue's hanging on, he'll make it back to back. He is a champion. He's done what only champions can do. Vogue wins a length. Great performance, marvellous racehorse. He's Vogue. The presentation about to get underway, and the chairman of the Victoria Racing Club, Mr. Peter Armitage, will make the presentation to the winning connections.
Mr. Premier, Mr. Robertson, Honda Australia, ladies and gentlemen, what a marvellous race. I want to say on behalf of the VRC, our heartiest congratulations to the champion, Vogue, and his connection. We are delighted to be associated with Honda in this magnificent race, and now I'll introduce the Honourable, the Premier, Mr. Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kane.
Chairman Peter Armitage, VRC committee members, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be asked to introduce Mr. Robertson to make the presentation. Racing is great in this state, and for a champion to win a race of this calibre and take on all the best horses in the country is better for racing than anything. And the crowd here today, a great crowd, but they're stopping around to see the presentation to the connections of a champion racehorse. Thanks for sticking around and seeing what's important to racing. And a very great pleasure in introducing Mr. Neil Robertson, who's the Director of Marketing and Internal Operations of Honda Australia, to make the presentation to the winning connections.
Mr. Premier, members of the VRC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Honda Australia, I would like to say how delighted we are to be again associated with the prestigious events held at Flemington. This is our first year to be associated with the Honda Australian Cup, and I'm sure that after such an exciting race, it won't be the last. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate the VRC on their wonderful 150 years and to wish them well for the future. I now have great pleasure in congratulating the connections of Vogue, Gary Roberts, Jay Perry, trainer Vic Rail and jockey Cyril Small. And I would ask Gary to come and accept the award. Thank you.
Well, there you go, Vogue. He is a superstar. Amazing, just having a look at the horse while the presentation was being made. He went around to different parts of the crowd around the paddock enclosure, and he just bowed to them as he walked around. Paid $4 and $1.30, extraordinary price, probably the best dividend we've seen of Vogue in Victoria. $1.10 for Better Loosen Up, $1.25 for Superimposed, $15.10 for the Quinella. The trifecta, $118.60, and the double was $28. So the Blamey trifecta reversed around a little bit, but has got up and at quite good odds as well. Vogue, the winner of the Australian Cup. We'll take a break, come back again live to Flemington. There he is, and that's Vogue, winner of his second successive Australian Cup. Certainly great to see. There's just not enough adjectives to describe how good the horse is. Peter and Graham, you've seen some marvellous racehorses. If he's not the best, he's certainly one of them.
Oh, and he's the favourite too, Dan. Wasn't it great, the reception he got, Graham?
Yes, tremendous. Hundreds of people standing around the mounting yard, and a great cheer when Vic Rail went up to the microphone. It was a great win.
Well, Dan, from us, I think we've seen a magic moment in racing today.
Peter, Graham, thanks a lot for your help today. One of the certainly magic races of all time. We've seen one of the best and most popular races of all time, and his name is Vogue, and he won't be retired for a couple of seasons yet. He's a 6-year-old. He comes back.
Didn't I meet you in my dreams?
Tomorrow night, Whoopi Goldberg is riotous as a computer programmer caught up in an international spy scandal. Jumpin' Jack Flash. That's 10's Monday night movie tomorrow night at 8:30. But coming up next tonight, it's Entertainment This Week.
A carefully designed pre-race plan today gave the nation's favourite racehorse, Vo Rogue, a stunning victory in the Australian Cup at Flemington. It was the 6-year-old's second successive win in the Group 1 Classic, and as Peter Donegan reports, the big crowd at Flemington gave him a hero's reception.
Royal Flemington was at her beautiful best at 3 o'clock, and a big crowd was on hand to witness what looked like being the race of the year. Bookmakers took a remarkable risk with Vo Rogue, betting as much as 14 to 1 before he started at 12s, while outstanding 3-year-old Stylish Century was the public elect at 2 to 1. Vo Rogue took up the running soon after the start, and in a predetermined plan, jockey Cyril Small kept him about 4 horses off the rail in search of the best going. With half the journey over, the Rogue had a big break over Stylish Century, with another long gap to the others. The Queensland champion was still clear when they flattened for the run-in. The challengers were poised, but Vo's will to win proved overpowering.
300 to go. Small goes for the whip on Vo Rogue. He's 4 in front. Here's Better Loosen Up running on strongly with Superimpose. Vo Rogue of the 250, a length and a half in front. Better Loosen Up is trying to run him down. Here's Superimpose and the Phantom. Vo Rogue still a length in front. Better Loosen Up can't get him. Vo Rogue's hanging on. He'll make it back to back. He is a champion. He's done what only champions can do. Vo Rogue wins a length.
The crowd gave the champion a fitting reception as he returned to scale, after which jockey Cyril Small explained his tactics.
Until about 4 horses wide, it was a little bit damp on the inside until you got past the mile, so instructions were to stay out until we got to the mile, which he did, and he relished it.
It truly was a magic moment in racing that had the crowd at Flemington standing as one. Earlier in the day, they saw a great finish to the Sires Produce Stakes.
Here's Draw Card. Draw Card is swamping them. Century Pike goes to the front. Draw Card, Kenny Lad coming at it. Century Pike going to it. Kenny Lad and might have got up in the last stride, Kenny Lad.
Race 6 on the card was the Group 2 CUNY Stakes, and it saw the appearance of top New Zealand mare Philippa Rush.
Reganza goes up to take the lead from Lady of Perfection. Reganza got to the front near the post, and Reganza's going to win. Tight for the Miners. Hermoso got second in front of Lady of Perfection, Belle Chanson.
And the quadrilla at Flemington today on 9, 1, 7 and 5, $2,041.60. The quad extra, 1, 7, 5 and 4, $7,797.45. Daily double 1 and 5, $27.75. And the extra double 7 and 10, $59.60. New South Wales and Queensland.
To sport now with Greg Miles, and Vo Rogue's done it again.
Certainly has, Mary. The Rogue answered an army of critics who'd written him off with an emotion-charged win in today's Australian Cup. It lifted his stakes close to $3 million, a figure he looks certain to pass when he contests the rich Sydney Carnival. Many dismissed Vo Rogue's chances of winning his second Australian Cup. He was so unwanted, he started at the amazing price of 12 to 1. The 3-year-old Stylish Century was all the rage at 2s, with Better Loosen Up well backed at 4s. Superimpose, a perennial place-getter, has his admirers, and Raps on the Phantom from New Zealand was strong. But as soon as they jumped, it was back to a familiar story.
Vo Rogue with a big lead inside the 400. He's 4 lengths in front of Stylish Century, who can't peg back the leader. Better Loosen Up is starting to finish quickly on the outside. Vo Rogue in front by 3 at the 200. Better Loosen Up the danger. Superimpose coming quickly. Vo Rogue about 2 lengths in front of Better Loosen Up. Superimpose. Vo Rogue with 100 to go by a length. He's holding them at bay. The Rogue will win his second in a row. Vo Rogue wins at a length. Better Loosen Up. Superimpose is third, 3/4 of
the Rogue answered his critics doing what he does best, running very fast. One man who never lost faith in his charge was trainer Vic Rail.
Well, I've said all along he certainly hasn't lost in his ability. Well, he proved that his last start. You know, if you're running a second outside your own record, you're not going too bad, are you?
In fact, he proved he's lost nothing. That time was equal to the fastest ever in an Australian Cup. And who'd ever believe it? 12 to 1 Vo Rogue. In other races, Canny Lad scored by a nose in the Sires. New Zealand star filly Philippa Rush was beaten out of a place in the CUNY, and Bart Cummings scored a double. First on the program, the steeple won by Pleasure Bow at 5 to 1, made it 2 steeplechase wins in a row. Clutos got there by a nose in race 2 at 25 to 1 over Nosy Knight and Economy. The Sires was the third, and Canny Lad gave punters reason to worry.
2 lengths, 2 Century Pike. Kenny Ladd is closing and Drawcard is flashing home. Andy is stopping. Century Pike grabs the lead. Kenny Ladd coming at them. Kenny Ladd draws level with Century Pike. Got there. Kenny Ladd a no. Century Pike, I'd say. Third a photo. Drawcard the out.